Now what could be more cheerful than this? And what's even better? These flowers bloom during the winter. Of course, that depends on where you live in the country. You watched us design and build this house in 150 days, but the work is far from over. We're about to jump into my favorite part of the process of bringing all this together. Join me for an exclusive look right here on eHow Home. You know, there's just something wonderful about having blooming flowers around, really all year long. There's some plants that can take the cold and can take the low light conditions that we get in late fall and early winter. So, well, I'm looking at one of them. This is the pansy. It's a tough little plant despite its name. And it has a cousin called the viola. And both of these can take those low light and cold conditions. Actually, they prefer it. So what I'm doing with these pansies is I'm going to mass plant them over the tulip bulbs. Now you may have seen my segment about Menton tulips that I love so much because we've planted them over here and we're planting them here. Well, they're underground, and now we're going to overplant them with this variety of pansy, which is called lavender shades. Now just think about this. I've got salmon colored tulips that are going to be contrasted with these beautiful lavender colored faces. Just look at that. Isn't that a beautiful flower? Now if you want these things to really succeed, you got to get the soil right. And you see we've worked this soil up. We've got the bulbs planted, and that's my soil test. You've probably seen me do this before. We open it up and it all crumbles and falls apart. That means there's plenty of good organic matter in the soil. And also in this bed, I worked in plenty of organic fertilizer. You see, these plants even grow through the winter. And one of the mistakes I think people make when growing pansies or some of these winter flowers is that they say, hey, it's winter. They don't really need to be fed, but they do. And they respond very well to it. So with the soil ready and the fertilizer already worked into it, what I do is I just pop these out of their little cell pack like that. You can see that the roots are slightly bound together. I just gently pull them apart. And this will encourage the roots to grow out. And then what I'm going to do is plant these pansies about every 8 inches apart because I like a solid mass of them. Now, one of the things that I learned to do years ago was to pinch off the blooms like this. It's painful to do. And you can pinch off the blooms here like that. The reason for this is that you really want the little plant to get established. And if it comes a rain, these blooms, well, they just get beaten down. So go ahead and take them off. You could bring them inside and you could use them in a little bouquet, or you can eat them. They're great on salads. Pansy blooms are delicious. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep planting these. You can see I've got a triangle going like this and just offsetting them. And what will happen is that these will, over the course of the season, knit together and it'll be a solid mass of purple. And remember, those salmon tulips are going to come up through them and bloom. So you'll have this mass planting along the edge. Most of my bulbs are back here, and so halfway where the bulbs are up to the front, this is where I'm going to plant the pansies. So we have this purple border all the way down, and then it'll pick up over there on the other side. If you want to see this in bloom, you're going to have to come visit me here at Moss Mountain Farm and check out our little eHow cottage and garden. If you're loving these tips, share them with a friend and make sure you subscribe to eHow Home. Now I got to get back to work.